Hi cuties! So today we're gonna talk about some highly anticipated releases coming to you this quarter. I have decided against doing anticipated releases of the full year because of what happened last year where I made a bunch and then because of COVID, a bunch of book releases ended up getting pushed way back time and time again. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not trusting publishers anymore. So we're gonna do this way. And hopefully these ones all stick to it. And we're just gonna do quarterly releases here. So these books are all releasing between the months of January, February, and March this year. And I will do another video like this come March for April, May, and June, and so on and so forth. So I have a lot of anticipated releases this year, however, or at least this quarter, but I am going to be choosing just a top 10 because if I told you all of the anticipated releases just for this quarter that I have written down, it would be over 50. So I have narrowed them down to my top 10. They're not ranked in a top 10. I just scribbled them all down, but they are they're ranked above the other 50 because the other ones are, I don't really know enough about to weigh in on if I want it. So most of these ones are from authors that I already know and kind of trust a bit more. Some of them are continuations of series that I've already been reading, or ones that I'm just like, yes, give it to me now. But some of the other ones on my list, I'm kind of like, you could be good, but I'm not going to get my hopes up too high yet for you. So, that is why I don't know what I'm doing with my things, with me right now. So, anywho, let's talk about books, shall we? The very first book technically is not an anticipated release anymore because it did come out on January 5th. However, I believe this is going to be the book in the January Owl Crate this month, and therefore it has not been released to me yet, nor has the Owl Crate official edition been released yet. So it still counts, but that is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. And this is a Medusa retelling, and Medusa is one of my favorites. I kind of love Medusa because you want to talk about a relatable goddess. Well, let's talk about a relatable Gorgon. Medusa's your girl. And who doesn't? What girl doesn't fantasize about having a head full of snakes? I do. Then I wouldn't have to worry about re-dyeing this all the time. I would just have snakes for hair. All the problems in my life would easily be solved by snakes in my hair. Okay? People bothering me at work. Snakes in my hair. People bothering me on the streets. Snakes in my hair. Waking up with bedhead. Just kidding, you don't have bedhead because you have snakes for hair. Also, turning people to stone if they look at you. Very, very useful gift. So, would definitely subscribe to that. So, gods, if you want to curse anybody with that, a volunteer. So I'm very excited to get to Lore this year. I can't wait for Owl Crate to arrive because I am like 99.9999999% sure it's gonna be Lore. So yes, it will actually be my first Alexandra Bracken book that I'll read because, oh, maybe, who knows? We'll see if I get to it. I do own a couple others by Alexandra Bracken somewhere on my shelf. Passenger and Wayfarer are right there. I've never read Darkest Minds, but yeah. Or Prosper Redding, that's another one I think. Is it? I don't think that's on my shelf. I think that's at my parents'. Moving on, number 2, we have Winterkeep by Kristen Cashore. I hope I said that right. I'm never sure if it's Cashore or Cashore. I've heard it both ways. This book releases on January 19th, and this is the 4th book in the Graceling series, which we all thought was like a companion trilogy, but lo and behold, it's not. We're going back into Graceling. Yeah, into Graceling. Going back into Graceling. More so Bitter Blue, but you know, we can deal with that. She wasn't my favorite, but I'm gonna deal with that and keep reading the stuff. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, So Winterkeep. I loved the Graceling trilogy. Again, I didn't really care for Bitterblue that much. I still enjoyed it, but I definitely loved Fire and Graceling much more. And I don't know what's gonna happen with Winterkeep. I didn't even read the plot. I do know it deals with Bitterblue, but I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna go into it blind. So don't spoil it for me if you've gotten an arc or something like that. But I'm very excited. It's also the reason I want the new covers, because then I want them all to match. I'm also very nervous though, because sometimes when, you know, authors come back into the worlds that they have set up years and years before, and then they delve back into that with new releases, it's a risky gamble if it's gonna hit the same or not. So, and like some have done it well for me, like Ransom Riggs did it well for me coming back with the new trilogy for Miss Peregrine. Other ones did not do well for me, like Kiara Cass with the Selection series and extending it to America's Daughter, which I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. So this is a risky gamble, but I'm still very excited for it because I hope it's good. I hope it's good. Number 3. The Bandit King. Tales from the Hinterland by Melissa Albert. This is coming out on January 12th. This is a companion to the Hazelwood duology, and this is the actual Tales of the Hinterland book that is talked about, all the fairy stories that are in the Hazelwood for the urban fantasy that is Hazelwood. This is the fairy stories compilation, and I'm very excited about these because they're very creepy stories. So if you've read the Hazelwood or you've read the Night Country, you know that these are not the happiest of fairy tales. These are a little bit gruesome there, making Grimm brothers quake in their roots a bit. So, yeah. And I think those would be a really fun bonding experience for me as an aunt now to read to my infant nephew, and it will definitely not give him nightmares. So I'm just gonna be a good aunt like that. But I'm very excited for this. I really love the Hazelwood, and I definitely want to read these stories because you kind of get hints and bits and pieces of it in the duology, but I want some more. I want the whole stories. Okay? Okay. Number 4, again, another author coming back into a series that's been left alone for a while. We've got Julie Kagawa's The Iron Raven. This comes out February 9th, and it is now the, like, beginning of a 3rd trilogy within the Iron Fae series. So we've had the Iron Fae, we've had the... what's the 2nd trilogy called? It deals with Megan's brother, and now we're gonna have Puck's story. My boy, who was done so dirty in the original stuff. I can't. I don't know how I'm gonna handle this because I love Puck. I love him so much. He was my favorite. Like, he was the thing that saved the Iron Fae series for me, because I don't care about Megan and what's-his-face. I never cared about them. I cared about Puck. All right? I cared about him. And he was done dirty, and I love him a lot. And I'm very, very scared what this new trilogy is going to bring to us. I don't know, but I'm anticipating it, obviously. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on this list. Duh. So there you go. Iron Raven. This is how you get a book on this list, as if it makes me go. Number 5, The Desolations of Devil's Acre by Ransom Riggs. This is the conclusion to the new trilogy in the Miss Peregrine's universe, and it is coming out February 23rd. I had to remember that one for a second. Again, just got into the new trilogy, and I just finished reading the other ones, so it's still fresh in my mind what has happened and how we left off on that cliffhanger. I'm nervous about this. I do anticipate some character deaths that I don't think I'm prepared for. I'm very worried about some of my faves. So I think Ransom Riggs may tear out my heart, like he tore out someone's tongue. Fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine, and I'm totally fine. Coming for you, Riggs. There better be some happy ending to this in some way. But I don't anticipate that because, you know, it's Ransom Briggs. So, you know. That's pretty much summing that up right there. Let's move on. Number 6, Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. All right, here we go. This is the second book, the final book in the Nikolai duology. Okay. And see, Nikolai duology, the King of Scars, came out in 2019, 18? God, it's been a while. We've been waiting for this book. He came out with other books before finishing this duology? What were you doing? But we've left off on a lot. I may have to reread a little bit just to remember where we left everybody, because I don't really remember where we left Zoya. I remember where we left Nina. I can't remember where we left Zoya. And that's a shame, because I did love Zoya's whole like arc with it, because Zoya was not a character I cared about too much or that I liked in the original Grisha trilogy, and she grew on me big time in King of Scars. So I definitely need to refresh my memory, but I'm very excited for it because I love the Grishaverse, and I'm very excited for the show that's gonna come out. I might actually watch a show this year, who knows? I'm just nervous. I'm nervous for it. Oh, there's so much happening with Grishaverse, and yee. Rule of Wolves is coming out March 30th. Hold on. Consult the paper. Yes, March 30th. And I feel like I'm sad that it was pushed back so long, because we should have gotten this sooner. I believe we should have gotten this sooner. But if it, you know, if it's worth the wait and it's that amazing, then we deserve it. Momentary interlude. This is happening right here. This is what's next to me on the floor right now. You're welcome. What a chunk. Look at his face. We are very happy. Oh, hi. Sorry, didn't want to disturb you. She really likes it when you pet her with your foot, though. Yeah. Oh, yes. You're welcome. Number 7, we have The Mirror Season by Anna Marie McLemore, and this is coming out on March 16th, I believe. I don't really know what this is about, and that's the thing about Anna Marie McLemore's books. You don't need to go into things, because she writes magical realism, and she always has some kind of LGBTQ rep in her books, usually has some Latinx rep in her books as well. There's just beautiful prose is what I expect going into it. Anna Marie McLemore is an auto-buy author for me. I will read anything she writes, and here we go. Here's a new one, ready for it. I've got nothing else for you. I don't know what it's about. I don't care what it's about. I just know I want to read it, and then I will care about it as I read it. I mean, I care about it right now, and I do care, but I don't need to be excited about it for the plot alone. I'm excited for a new Anna Marie McLemore book. And you just say her name and I'm like, give me it. Just give me it. I'm good. I don't need to know anything else. You just put it in my hands and I will give you the money. And that's it. We're good. Next up, we have The Initial Insult by Mindy McGinnis. Yet again, another author that I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to buy it. I've only read one book by her, and I do anticipate reading more. I have one other, I just didn't get to it last year. I'm hoping to get to it pretty soon. But Mindy McGinnis wrote Female of the Species, and I'm not usually one for very hard-hitting, kind of depressing stories that end in tragedy, but there's something about her writing that I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. This one looks very, very interesting. I've heard it's also like an Edgar Allan Poe retelling of some sort. I don't know what that means. If it's a specific story of his that it is, but I don't know enough. But I know it's coming out on February 23rd, and I'm very excited for this one. It has to do with Poe. So, BBB, you got a story written about you. Should be interesting to see. I'm very excited for this one. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, that's all I really know about it. Then we have The Project by Courtney Summers. Courtney Summers, again, I've only read one book by her, but I don't care. I'm gonna read more. She wrote Sadie, which is what she's very well known for. I have another one of her books somewhere over here called Cracked Up to Be, and now we have The Project. Now this has probably something to do with like a cult and breaking out of said cult, and honestly anything like that intrigues me. I always am very interested in those kinds of stories. I don't know, that make me really weird, and I don't know. I just really like reading about them, and I think they're fascinating. With Courtney Summers writing a book about this kind of situation, I'm intrigued. I'm very, very intrigued by this. I can't wait. I can't wait for this one. Did I say when it was coming out? February 2nd. It's coming out February 2nd. So, not long now. And I'm very excited to read it. We'll see. We'll see. All right, the last one in my top 10 is You Have a Match by Emma Lord, which is coming out January 12th. Emma Lord had her debut of Tweet Cute this last year, and I absolutely loved it. It was such a fun, good contemporary romance and stuff, and here's another one for us. This one's not necessarily a contemporary romance, but it is still a contemporary dealing with like DNA genetics. Our main character discovers that she has a sister that she didn't know about. Whoopsies! Now, there will be some kind of romantic element in this book because it deals with something to do with like a crush and a big embarrassing moment for her or something like that, but I think it's more focused on the familial aspect of this and having this sister who was given up for adoption and trying to figure out why that is. And I think that's going to be really interesting because I do like stories, especially stories about sisters. I have two sisters, so I like seeing how accurate they are. And I gotta tell you, the youngest sister is usually written very inaccurately from my perspective. I have a full rant on the younger sister trope that is wildly inaccurate, and I don't like it. Stop writing us like that, guys. We're not going to get into that rant today, though. Maybe another video I'll rant about that. Those are my top 10 most anticipated releases of the first quarter. Okay, what are your guys' anticipated releases this year, this first quarter, if you have them set up that way? Otherwise, you can say ones for the rest of the year as well. I'd love to know. And what do you think of these ones? Do you want to read them with me when they come out? Let's see what we can get going here. And of course, you can always leave everything down in the comments below, any questions down there, or on Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. And check out my Ko-fi page if you want to support me as a content creator. I super duper appreciate that. I will see you next time, cuties. Bye! Focus camera. We've had this discussion before. Thank you. Snakes for hair. You would focus if I had snakes for hair. And she had the audacity to come out with Ninth House before. I said that really weird. I said Ninth House. Ninth House? I can talk. And now she's gonna be gross and clean herself right next to me. Happy to be here. What?